Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Blue Collar Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Greg Mayo.
And I'm Ryan Hergott.
Hey, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this page so you don't miss any of the upcoming content.
So today, Greg, we're going to really unbox, do you have what it takes to renovate a house? What's involved? We're going to really take a dive into what are 3 steps that people need to take or at least be aware of to get started, and really kind of share with people, man, can I do this? Or maybe should I go buy a brand new house? Because that's a hell of a lot easier sometimes.
Well, and it can be a lot easier to buy a new house, but it's a good point. What are the steps? Because a lot of people watch HGTV. They think things happen in 30-minute increments. They don't. You and I
pretty
both know
much
that.
do, though. I mean, mostly.
Yeah. I remember that one time I pretended. Never mind. I was gonna. No. Okay. But.
But for,
Hi.
But let's talk, because there's so many buyers, or people in the real estate market right now that are frustrated for a variety of reasons. We're 6-7 years deep into an uphill run. Market's been good. The economy's been good. Consumer confidence is high. But a lot of buyers are frustrated because they're having to rush to make decisions because homes sell in hours sometimes. And there's low inventory and 30-year low inventory and all this. And, people are tired of making these crazy offers on homes. And I think sometimes there's some other options that maybe they're not aware of, but yet they're scared to pursue it because they've never done construction before. They've never torn a wall down.
Well,
they have no clue what that means.
I think a lot of people don't even understand that's an option.
I agree.
We've learned phrases in our industry now about what just came on a couple of years ago, escalation clause.
Yep.
Where you can make an offer on a house and then put an automatic thing in there that'll make the price you're offering go up and up and up and up.
eBay buy it now type thing.
Yeah. So you don't get outbid. And I know you've got hundreds of stories, I do too, of clients that find a house finally, they love it, they put an offer in, and then find out they're one of 12.
Yeah, and and that's a whole nother story, a topic we will definitely unbox at another time. But kind of really pertaining to HGTVing, quote unquote, for those of you watching, it's when you're HGTVing your own house, again, I think so many people are frustrated because they, it's like, well, I don't have $50,000 cash laying around to renovate or to hire a contractor, or better yet, I don't even know who a contractor is that I need to hire. And how do I know they're not going to take my deposit money and run? So that's the stuff I really want to kind of dive into today is what are the, again, top 3 things that you really need to do first if you're considering taking on a project like this.
Okay, so the first thing is, absolute first thing, and this is coming from a guy who spent years as a contractor. Do you have the stomach to renovate a house?
I want you to tell me what that means, because do you have the stomach? I mean, when you say that, the first thing that comes into my mind is, Tom Hanks in the movie Money Pit. He's walking down on the upstairs over the carpet, and then he falls through, like that's what comes to mind when you say that. But, and that was an awesome movie at the time, but tell me, what's that mean to stomach a project for people that have maybe never taken one on?
Well, here's the thing, and there's a few things we're going to be real direct about, right?
Yeah.
Number one, do you have the physicality to do it?
What do you mean, like actually being able to do the work yourself?
Yeah. So
sure.
Do you get up in the morning and have your coffee and your bran muffin and then go to the office and sit at a desk all day and then come home and sit and watch TV all night? If you do, 3 or 4 days in a row of doing hard demo of plaster and lath or whatever is probably going to hurt you.
Yeah, I can attest to that.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is, when you renovate a house, I don't care where it is or what house it was or when it was built or who it was built by, you are going to have, oh my God, what just happened? Moments.
Right.
You're going to have frustration. You're going to have things that you weren't aware of. Do you have the patience for that? If you're prone to anxiety and you already drink a bottle and a half of CBD oil a day, this may not be the gig for you. I do half a dropper. That's a different story. But so that's the thing. Do you have the stomach for it? And, I had a client a couple of years ago, client about my age, a couple. They bought a house. They wanted to do remodels. And I knew the moment they told me, we watch HGTV all the time.
Sure.
First thing I said was stop doing that. Because it's not going to educate you on renovating houses. If you want education on that, you watch Tom Silva and This Old House and those guys. We'll talk about that later. They're not sponsors of the show, by the way, yet. But anyway, they buy this house. They go in. They spend the first weekend renovating themselves. And by renovating, I mean sledgehammers, knocking out plaster and lath, knocking down ceiling and all the insulation.
Oh, wow. The really dirty work.
3 days in, I get a call begging me to come down to the house.
Right.
So I drive down. They're all covered in soot and filth and sweat. It's about this time of year, right? Hot out. The first thing I said when they walked up, well, the husband, the first thing he said was, "This sucks." The wife, the first thing she said was, "Sell this house. We're done."
3 days in.
Right.
Right.
That's what I mean by, do you have the stomach for it?
Okay. So I do think people definitely need to understand that this actually is work. HGTV frequently shows, that first sledgehammer swing into the wall, that, that first, I'm going to take out this aggression stuff. That's all awesome. And then they kind of skip to the next step of, all right, now we got the cabinets going in.
Right.
Well, and there's obviously a lot of dirty work that goes into that. And do you have the stomach to take that on? Do you want to do it yourself, or do you have the people around you to do it?
And you can do it like HGTV. You can hit the wall twice, cut to a Summer's Eve commercial, have a demo crew come in and get you ready for you can do that, but there are a lot of steps involved.
Sure.
So, and then the second thing we need to think about is, if you decide, I'm ready to do this, I'm in, I want the satisfaction along with the blood, sweat, and tears, right, of renovating my own house. The second thing is, how am I going to pay for it?
Sure. I think that's something that really scares a lot of people, because there's just so much unknown when it comes to the finance side of renovating a house. And you don't have, and this is where I talk to people frequently, and they have this misconception that I have to have a pile of cash sitting somewhere to pay for doing this. And that's just simply not the case. And we will definitely dive way deep into this in future episode, talking about, the specifics of home renovation financing. But I know you will. As well as I do, there's so many good loan programs that exist today where you don't have to write a check out of pocket. You can get into a house, go through a complete renovation project, and it costs 3.5% down. So if you buy a $100,000 house, you're $3,500 into this thing.
Yeah.
Plus an inspection and appraisal. But nevertheless, so it can happen, but it's being aware of that. And how do you position yourself, I feel, to take advantage of programs? Because you do have to have a little bit better credit. You do have to understand that maybe that loan is going to, there's a few more moving parts involved in it than just showing up and signing a few papers. So.
Which is where the right mortgage broker comes into play.
Without a doubt, especially with home renovation projects, because it is, you always like to say, you could probably hire anybody to put floors in your house, right? But what's that person actually do? Do they normally do roofing and now they're doing floors? Or do you have somebody that understands the nuances of financing and working with contractors and tying that entire package together? Which I think kind of leads into another point, building your team. How do you put the right people around you to do this?
Well, and that's a huge thing. That's a huge thing, especially in Indiana, frankly, where to become a general contractor, you get some insurance and you fill out a form and pay a check, and boom, you're a general contractor. It's like, shazam.
All right, so say that one more time. So one of the things you see contractors boast about frequently, and there's always a handyman, chuck in a truck, guys that are doing their best, but there's also those that really boast the licensed, bonded, insured. And you're just sitting here telling me that that's literally signing a piece of paper and paying a fee?
Yeah.
And I can get that exact same thing?
Yeah.
All right, so that gives me some comfort.
You don't have to prove you know anything. So as the consumer, as the end user, as the person hiring them to work on your house, you have got to go through the steps to make sure that person's legit.
Right. What are some of those steps? And I don't want to dive too deep into this, because I know you and I, we had talked, that's a topic you and I are both super passionate about. We both know people that have been taken advantage of by contractors, and, they take their deposit money and never see or hear from them again. There's a lot that I want to dive into on that. But, for right now, kind of touching that on the surface level. Go ahead.
Well, and we don't need to bring Rafael Sanchez in just yet. But the idea is to meet with several contractors. Always get multiple estimates for whatever you're getting done, whether it's a new furnace, plumbing, whatever you're doing. Then the second thing is go ahead and go look at work that contractor's done. They should be able to take you to houses they've done, at least drive you by them.
Right.
The other thing is ask for references. Do you have past clients that I can call? If they say no, either they don't have past clients or they really, really don't want you to talk to them.
Right. Well, and I think frequently people, they just don't want to take the steps to educate themselves. Again, we all like to look at the surface level stuff, the stuff that's fun, that's sexy, that's pretty. But there's so much that goes into renovating a house. There's so much goes into simply buying a house anymore. It's not easy just to get a normal loan today, but there's a lot of steps involved. And I think one of the things that you've really, really done with your clients successfully over the last handful of years, especially those that are taking on projects like this, is show them that they can do it. You show them that there is a path to get there. It's
Right.
simply following the map, and there is a process to go through and redo a house. And for those people that are frustrated in the market where they can't buy the house that's perfect, ready to go, or somebody's maybe already done all this work to it or build a brand new one, how do you provide that solution? How do you give them that confidence? And I think that's something maybe you could even share a couple stories on how you've been able to do that with people, because it's just not something people do every day unless they grow up around it like you did.
No, and the thing is, anything you do in life, and especially anything you do in construction, there are steps.
Without a doubt.
In whatever order they come in. There could be 3 steps to a process, there could be 27 steps, there could be 1,000 steps. But it's one step at a time. And as long as you do the first step, and then to the second, and then to the third, and you do each one to the best of your ability, you will have a product or a situation at the end that you're happy with. So for me, having been a contractor, my job is to help people understand what those steps are. You can find videos on YouTube all the time. Look, I'm not a mechanic. I know you're a car guy. I've been put in positions over the last 10 or 15 years where I have to work on one of our cars. I go to YouTube. First thing I do.
Sure.
Let me watch a mechanic explain to me how to do that, and I'll decide whether I can or not. Well, it's the same with the home renovation project. Right. You're going to watch a video, a 20-minute video on YouTube of some guy hanging kitchen cabinets, and you're going to go, I can follow those steps. I can do that.
Easy enough.
You're going to watch somebody install a gas furnace and go, I know, right? Because just not everybody can do that. So helping them walk through that process, helping them understand what the costs are associated with that. I want to move this wall. Well, it's not that simple.
Well, and one of the things that I think that you've done so well with many of your clients is really showing them some of the pros and cons of going through the remodeling process versus maybe spending, an extra little bit of money up front and just getting something that's done. But, we're going to go meet somebody here in just a little while that, he's brand new into this. He's frustrated because he's lost out on bid after bid after bid trying to get a house bought here. And now he's finally accepted, I'm probably going to have to explore a new avenue because of where I want to live, because of what my budget is. But I think after we show him that this can be done, you're going to go show him a simple before and after of a house you've already done. I think it's really going to open a light for people. And sometimes it just takes going down that path and seeing that, hey, you know what, there is a checklist for doing this. There is a process, and I've done this before, and just educating yourself on what that is. So.
It's not magic, right? There's a simple process to follow. Years and years and years ago, I worked at a big box retailer. I don't know if I can say their name because they're not sponsors of the show yet. But I worked at the contractor desk, and I had a couple come up that wanted to tile their bathroom. Long story short, I spent about an hour and a half walking around the store with them, getting all the pieces and parts. I wrote them a list of the steps to tiling a floor. One of the coolest feelings in my professional existence. They came back 3 weeks later and were so excited. They're both hugging me because they tiled their own bathroom floor.
Yeah.
It's just, do you follow the steps, right? And you can have what you want, and you can usually have it for less than it would cost to build new.
Without a doubt. No, I mean, with especially, where we're at today, midsummer 2019, where the market's been on this upward rise now since 2011 or 12, it's gotten tough to build brand new, and there's certainly a premium to build brand new. And as you well know, you have to go further and further out to do it.
Yep.
It blows me away. The communities that we were selling when I first got into this business in the late 90s, man, they've been there a while now. It's been almost 20 years that they've been there, and the trees are all grown up, and you're seeing those homes go through that that renovation cycle as well now. But I think what really intrigues you, which I am growing more and more to love, is you're doing this downtown with the houses with so much character and
and history, and
you're helping buyers say, you know what, I need this house to function for me the way I need to live right now, and you're showing them how to make that happen in a home that's maybe it's not very sexy day one, but over the course of 2 or 3 months, 4 months in some cases, that house gets to where they want to be. And by using some of the renovation loans that exist today, or just paying cash if you have it, that's cool too. But you're able to help them get what they want in the area that they want, and it provides everything they're looking for. It's just a different path to get there.
And the satisfaction at the end.
That's it.
To be able to show them, okay, here's what you can build on the outer rim, if you will, of society, which is where they're building their homes now. But here's what you can get for $250, right? Now let me take you into the city and some of these cool, vibrant neighborhoods in Indy. And I love Indy, and I love my downtown. Let me show you a house you can buy for $100. put 75 in. It's exactly what you want. You have the old world character, you have the modern conveniences and electrical and energy efficiency that you need. It's in a walkable neighborhood. It's close to everything. You can see the skyline from your back porch, and you're 175 in.
Yep.
And it's exactly what you want.
Yep.
Not 250 in, and you're an hour from downtown.
Yep.
That's one hell of an Uber ride.
That's, yeah. Voice of experience there.
Uber is not a sponsor yet either, by the way. But so yeah, it to me, let's start at the beginning and let's just walk our way through what we need to do to renovate a house.
Truly, yeah. Let's give everybody those 1 through 3 steps. What do they need to know first? Let's give somebody an actionable, practical takeaway. So if they want to start researching, maybe I do want to do this now. What needs to happen next, man?
The first thing I would recommend them doing is figuring out if they can even buy a house right now.
Sure.
I mean,
what's that mean? I mean, financially, or what do you mean?
Well, assuming you're either in a house that you're paying for now or that you're in a rental, you got to get with a mortgage lender, and you got to find out what you can afford for a mortgage, if you can qualify for one of these programs and these renovation programs. And the reason I say that's got to be a first step is because regardless of where you want to be and what you want to do and what you think the end result's going to be, if you can't buy it, you can't buy it.
True.
A good lender is going to be able to help you walk through the steps if there is work that needs to be done. If you're owning a home right now and you're looking at a renovation project, which is going to take 3 to 6 months, can you cover both houses for 3 to 6 months? Yeah. I mean, there's just a lot to factor in. The first thing is start with the lender.
Understanding those financial dynamics. So after they've got an understanding of, okay, here's kind of where we need to be budget-wise, here's what programs I'm eligible for, what do they need to do next? So at that point, obviously, you're doing some research. Everybody's on Zillow looking at homes every night and every other website. But a lot of times I see people kind of get ahead of themselves by they're out there looking at all these homes and they just jump right in the car and go look at homes without maybe the rest of the stuff in place. What are some of the other things after they know what they can qualify for that they need to do to make sure that this isn't a nightmare of an experience?
So after you know what you can qualify for, the second thing is, in my mind, where do you want to be? That's going to vary for everybody. If you're looking for a 1,200 or 12 to 1,800 square foot Bedford stone ranch, you're not going to find one of those in Fountain Square.
Right.
Well, I think there's actually one on the east edge. But point being, you're not going to find that house there. So where do I want to be? What's important to me in an area? And you can do all kinds of online research and figure out different places and what the data looks like. A real good realtor will help you in that process. Or realtor.
OR at the end.
Well, I put the A in the middle. Real-a-tor.
Yeah. Is that how it... There was a whole thing in real estate school, like when you first get your license, where they spend like 5 minutes teaching you how to say Real-tor.
Yeah.
Like literally.
And I
digress.
English is my second language. My first one's hillbilly, so I don't.
That's a good one.
But so yeah, you find a good realtor that can help you understand the different neighborhoods. There's a lot of online resources for looking at different things like crime data, where the restaurants are, walkability, places of worship, if that's your gig, whatever, commute time to work. So figure out where you want to be.
But I think another thing there, and you kind of skimmed over this, but when it comes to location, I mean, location, we hear that all the time. One of the things that I know you've done in the past is really provide a very transparent way of people to see that. And I know I do the same thing when I sit down with a client, and that's, here's my real estate MLS. I'm going to let you drive here. Okay, you get to drive the car here and see literally everything that I see, and it really shows people what's going on, because within that data source, you can go back and track, okay, between this period of time, what happened here? How many homes were sold? When did that growth start to happen? And then almost use that to help project, where should I go next? Or where is, where are the trends going, to know, is this an area maybe do I want to invest? Do I want to be that pioneer and be the first person on a street to renovate a house? Or are you going to wait till 5 or 6 of them are done? So I think that's one of the things from a location standpoint, is really working with somebody that can help you understand the data that's available. I know I talk to so many buyers in the marketplace, and there's literally, you Google homes for sale or renovating homes, and 40,000 pages come up.
Right.
Where do you start? How do you find somebody that you can confidently trust that's going to be able to guide you in the right direction for you?
Well, hopefully your realtor,
you hope,
is that guide. And if not, you've got the wrong realtor. But
Greg, shameless plug right there.
No, but it's true. And I'm not the only, look, I feel like I do well at my job, and I feel like I take care of my people. But, excuse me, I'm not the only realtor in the city that's good at their job. So my point is, find a good one. Find one that knows that information, that can walk you through the process, that knows the areas of downtown, and that can help you make that decision, not making it for you, but by giving you proper information.
Now, where should somebody, kind of shifting gears here just to touch on this, but again, as far as next steps, again, everybody's favorite thing to do is just go out and start looking at homes.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to take on a project like this and you're not familiar with how to do it, do you need to bring a contractor with you when you're going out looking at homes, or where do you recommend that happen? Because I know most contractors right now, especially the good ones, they're busy as hell right now.
Well, and here's the thing. I can tell you from having been a contractor, none of us need any more practice doing estimates.
Right.
So you go out and you look at a house and you think, I'm interested in it, I should bring a contractor. No, you shouldn't.
Okay.
You don't even know if you're going to buy the house yet or not. Don't waste that man or woman's time. Because an estimate is an hour there with you, the trip back to the shop, putting the thing together. So the first thing you want to do, hopefully, I should say, you have an agent with you that can help you understand, generally speaking, the cost, right?
Absolutely. Maybe an agent that's done it before, perhaps?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you shamelessly plug me. Look at you go. I'll buy you dinner later. But, yeah, that can kind of give you a general idea as you walk through a house and you look at the renovation projects and you go, okay, he says or she says, you're going to spend about $50,000 on this.
Yeah.
Give or take, but I mean about $50,000. Does that make sense? If you're an agent that doesn't understand that, educate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's not your gig and you just want to sell new houses or gently used homes with low miles,
nothing wrong with that.
Right,
I love those homes.
Then I would say do that.
But, well, again, so kind of wrapping things up here, our goal here is really just to help provide that first look at what do you need to do if you're considering taking on a project, or if you're just frustrated and you're not getting anywhere with your home search now or down the road. This is definitely an avenue. If you walk into a house that needs a wall moved, it is not an impossible project, and you don't have to have heaps of money in place in order to make that happen. It's just asking yourself some new questions and finding some new answers to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, you just need to be willing to learn, willing to do the research, and hopefully, like you said, surround yourself with a good team that can help you along the way. It can be a very rewarding experience, or it can be a bloody nightmare.
And one of my favorite things, and I'll leave on a super positive note here with this today, but we just helped a client, and he just put a tenant into this house, but he bought a house downtown Indianapolis last summer, spent about 3 months, and paid $53,000 for it, spent about 3 months completely renovating this house out and brought in a lot of the right people. And long story short, he spent $56,000 renovating this house, so 53 plus, I can't do math, but right around $109,000 or so. Well, now, fast forward 1 year almost to the day, that house is now easily worth $165,000 every day of the week. He's had tenants in that house that are paying a combined, it's a double downtown. He's had tenants in this house that are now paying $1,575 a month. Every way you look at that math is good.
Yeah, and that's badass.
And that's what I'm excited for people. Yeah, you weren't supposed to cuss.
Yeah,
right?
bleep that.
Man, I actually did well on this episode. But, that's the thing is this can happen. And now he's in a position where he's got an incredibly strong equity position and he still has the asset. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Fantastic.
So those are the kind of stories that we want to help other people experience, because you can go buy a new home and they're super awesome. I love it. But man, there is another path, and you've really opened my eyes to this over the last several months, which is why we're here. So continue to go down this journey, and that's about all we got for this episode, I think.
I'm looking forward to where we end up and what happens next week. So in the meantime, subscribe, like, review, rate, whatever the hell you do. Our channel, so you keep up with content. That's always good for us. And for the Blue Collar Real Estate Podcast, I'm Greg Mayo.
And I'm Ryan Hergott.
Have a great day.
Appreciate it.